The Death Guard Codex is out, but these Plague rules are not tied to the Death Guard. Not everything Plague related is Nurgle. I mean, this sort of is. It looks to be Games Workshop trying out a greater range of rules in preparation for upcoming releases. Could be the 2025 mission deck. Could be the Armageddon Crusade book, both expected in June 2025. Games Workshop likes to release rules in White Dwarf, which, if it works, becomes part of later rule sets. I recently faced a Poxwalker horde while playing the Unexploded Ordnance mission from Pariah Nexus. This is the second time I've played that mission, but it felt very familiar. I looked back and there in White Dwarf of June 2024 was the Siege Break mission where you push bombs towards the enemy player's deployment zone. A similar mission also appears in the Nakmud Gauntlet Crusade book. If you're searching dates and think, hang on, the June 2024 White Dwarf was released in May 2024 and the Pariah Nexus mission deck was released in June 2024. That isn't enough time to get community playtesting. And you would be right. The cards would already be done and sent out to be sold in smaller numbers than demanded and with a far higher price than is reasonable. Same would apply to the 2025 mission deck and the Armageddon Crusade book, both expected next month. But the White Dwarf is also made several months ahead of release, and these will be rules the Games Workshop has been thinking about for a while. They don't need us to playtest. The testing or playtesting is done in-house. I know that at the start of 10th edition we basically were the playtesters, but not this time. If a rules writer can come up with a concept and execute it well enough, with the White Dwarf team and Games Workshop rules team both testing it, the rules get more testing and then get published multiple times over. White Dwarf is the one that gets published first. This gives us a little look at what could be in the coming Crusade books and mission decks. Or it may be a bad idea that gets published in the White Dwarf anyway, like, there is no central objective, but if you have the highest objective control within 6 inches of the center of the battlefield at the end of the game, you get 25 victory points. Not a great one. Let's talk about these Malign Diseases. These are in White Dwarf 512 and they're only a page long. If you don't want to buy the White Dwarf but want to know the rules, this is Christian von Carmian reads you a book. These rules are intended to be used however you play 40k. Add them to a Crusade game or a one-off game to represent a vicious plague that Nurgle worshippers have yet to adapt to. Use them to represent the massive plant growth during a Tyranid invasion, or the old Warhammer 40k narrative hook, Chaos did it. If you play the Pariah Nexus mission deck all of the time and find it is getting boring, add these rules. They are intended to be compatible. Have them in addition to a mission rule card, or instead of a mission rule. And I hope you are randomly drawing your mission cards to mix it up instead of using the much more limited Tournament Companion presets. This is how it works. There are 6 diseases, all can be active, and all of them start at infection level 0. The players will choose which ones get activated as the game goes on. So if there are no vehicles or monsters in your opponent's army, you will not be interested in the Bane of Behemoth's disease. You will focus on other diseases instead. Once a disease has reached its critical infection rate, it is in effect for the rest of the battle and every unit in both players' armies are affected. This means your opponent will get the bonus or penalty the same as you. Each disease has a different infection level that it needs to reach before it becomes active. You can prep the disease to work for you first. At the end of a player's turn, their opponent gets to add 1 to a disease of their choice to bring it closer to activation or have it active, ready for your turn to start. And if the player whose turn has just completed did not use any stratagems in their turn, they can also add 1 to a disease. This can let you speedrun a disease and rewards you for waiting to use your stratagems. Some diseases will help you more than they help your opponent. If you have lots of guns and your opponent is hiding in cover, Hollowstone Blight gives ignore cover to all range weapons. If that was already part of your opponent's detachment rule, then you will get a benefit that your opponent already had. You can be smart with this. You can boost your own tactics. If you are normal gamer with normal gamer name like your father, and you play Tyranids, you could have a focus on Neurolictors and the Shadow and the Warp because you want to affect Battle Shock. This can have more of an impact with Diabolic Delirium. -1 to Battle Shock and leadership tests. Very bad for their opponent, but hardly a problem for the synapse creatures of the Tyranids in your father's army. If you play a Space Marine army, -1 to hit with ranged weapons is a little inconvenient, but for Orc mechs and big shooty stompers, it is terrible. Spore Squall Malaise is really easy to activate with an infection level of 2 to make shooting over 12 inches -1 to hit. By not using any stratagems in your turn 1, you can have it active from the start of battle round 2. Add 1 to the infection level in your own turn because you didn't use any stratagems, and then add 1 to it at the end of your opponent's turn. Because both players are affected by the bonuses and penalties, be careful that you don't help them more than yourself. Mouldering Pox increases the strength of melee attacks by 1. Tempting for World Eater players, but if you have lots of strength 4 attacks that become strength 5, that won't change the dice roll required to hurt a toughness 3 enemy, while the guardsmen you are fighting become strength 4 and can surprise punch your Space Marines. 2 of the diseases require 4 points of infection to come into effect. Unless you are trying to speedrun it by not using stratagems to get it up for battle round 3, or it is something both players want active, they won't come into effect. Bane of Behemoths increases the armor penetration of all attacks against monsters and vehicles by 1. Beckoner's Plague has a lot of conditions to be met, but it is perfect for Chaos Demon players. More Battle Shock tests will mean more regeneration from the Shadow of Chaos and more death for your enemy. In the command phase, you have to take a Battle Shock test as long as you're not below half strength. So below half strength units are already taking a Battle Shock test at that time. And only if units are not wholly within range of an objective marker, which usually they're not. They're often partly in range. And if you're not wholly within area terrain. But often units will want to hide behind area terrain instead of being in the area terrain. And then you take a Battle Shock test. I played a short test battle and there is a very mild effect on the game. And I got to see what 500 points of Zangors look like. It hits hard against infantry, but it folds easily. The Hollowstone Blight came into effect from the start of Battle Round 2, Mouldering Pox from the second turn of Battle Round 4, Bane of Behemoths from the start of Battle Round 5 when there were no real anti-tank weapons left to hurt the tanks, in this case, rhinos. And finally, Spore Squall Malaise came in for the second player in Battle Round 5 to inconvenience that second player. This isn't an overhaul to the game, but it felt like a mission rule level of effect. The plagues that have infection level 4 are not going to play a big part in the game. Diseases could be mission rules in the 2025 mission deck. Like, -1 to leadership and battle shock tests all game for everyone. Or from Battle Round 3, ranged weapons ignore cover. Something like that. If the Crusade book Armageddon has rules for battlefield-wide effects and Demon World rules and something teleporting through the warp, these fit perfectly. The Malign Diseases are one of many additional rules that Games Workshop has used in White Dwarf and could be impending overhauls to mission rules or the core rules. Considering how much they've changed the core stratagems over the edition, a big rework for them in 11th edition is likely. Take a look at some possibilities, but be sure to click that subscribe button on your way out. And have a great day of 40k.